Hi, I'm Mike Todd and welcome to Toddy Tackles. This week it's wood turning for beginners, part 1, and I'll show you how to get started in this fantastic hobby. When you start, you don't need to use expensive exotic timbers, so I use green wood because it's readily available, turns nicely, and if you make a mistake it doesn't matter. So I've cut 4 blanks ready for turning. We start by tapping the drive centre into the rough middle of the blank. You don't need to hit it hard, just enough to make a dent with the centre point and the 2 drive prongs. Next we make a centre punch in the rough middle on the other end. Gently tap the blank onto the drive centre. Don't hit too hard because you can put unnecessary force on the head bearings. Bring up the tailstock and then tighten it up until there's no left or right play between the centres. Next, bring the rest up to just below centre height and rotate the blank by hand to make sure it's not going to catch on the rest. Then, standing well out of the way, turn the lathe on and make sure everything's running okay. So the first chisel we use is a roughing out gouge. Hold it gently but firmly in both hands, lay it on the rest and rub the bevel on the wood. Then by slowly raising your right hand, bring the cutting edge into contact with the wood. Doing it this way avoids the chisel digging sharply into the wood. Once you've found a nice cutting angle, gently move left and right, reducing the high spots of the wood until we get to a cylinder. So the roughing gouge has produced a nice blank ready for some shaping with other chisels. First we'll use the spindle gouge to create a hollow or a cove. And remember, with all chisels, lay the chisel on the rest first, rub the bevel on the wood and then raise your right hand until it starts cutting. Firstly, create a groove where you want the centre of the cove to be. Then, working from the left and right in equal amounts, work down to the centre of the cove. By working downhill from each side to the centre of the cove, you'll be cutting across the grain. If you try and cut uphill, you'll cut into the grain and the chisel will dig in. When you first start, your eyes can be transfixed to where the chisel is meeting the wood, but it's better to look at the horizon of the wood as you'll see a better image of how the shape is progressing. As you can see, with the spindle gouge it's easy to produce nice coves. Lastly, the skew chisel. Of the 3 chisels, this causes a lot of people problems, but it's actually the most versatile tool you'll use. With it you can produce beads, coves, planing cuts and a lot more. We'll start off by producing 3 even beads. First we use the point of the chisel to mark the edges of each bead. Place the chisel on the rest and gently raise your right hand to create a nice mark on the wood. Then again with the point of the chisel, an equal distance each side of that groove, cut down to create a V. Now the slightly trickier bit. This takes a bit of practice, but with the lower part of the chisel, from the centre of each bead, roll the chisel down to the bottom of the V. Then turn the chisel over and do the other side. Here we're aiming for equal sized beadings across all 3. The earlier point about looking at the horizon is well demonstrated here. As you can see, the right hand bead needs a bit more work to make it match the left hand too. Now with the same chisel we're going to do a planing cut. It's important with a planing cut to use the lower half of the chisel. Keep it at about 35 degrees to the wood and you'll get a nice finish. If you strain to the top half of the chisel, it will dig in and create a nasty groove. Take your time, work slowly and don't try and remove too much wood at one time. Turn the chisel over and practice going left and right. As you can see, the Skew Chisel gives a really good finish. So now we're just going to use the spindle gouge and the Skew Chisel to make some wood shavings. This is good practice and it shows you how they can be used in different ways. This is why it's good to use green wood or cheap wood to start, so you can practice without worrying about how much it's costing. So there you go, grab yourself some cheap wood, get practicing, and with these 3 chisels you'll be able to tackle 90% of all the between centre projects. And remember, with all chisels, lay the chisel on the rest first, rub the bevel on the wood, and then raise your right hand until it starts cutting. I really hope you found this video useful. Please add any comments or subscribe below. Remember, always wear your safety glasses in the workshop and look out for future videos of Toddy tackles.